Matt Faulkner. I am the Deputy Director for the Office of Grants and Financial Management. As you just heard, we will be recording this session and making it available to you for your reference. Also, you'll notice that we have a chat feature, and you can ask your questions at any time. Just write them in the chat, and we'll try to get those all addressed in this session. For our agenda today, we're going to start off with welcome and introductions by Dr. Kaphammer, and he is the Acting Associate Director for NIFA. That'll be followed by an update from the Office of Grants and Financial Management, which I'll provide. We also get program updates for you from Dr. Suresh Warren. He's the Acting Deputy Director for the Institute of Youth, Family, and Community. And then lastly, we'll have a stakeholder communications feedback. We'll give you opportunities to ask us questions and provide your thoughts on what you would like. So without further ado, I'll turn things over to Dr. Kaphammer for the welcome and introductions. Bryan?
Well, thank you, Matt. And thanks everybody for attending. Again, I'm Bryan Kaphammer. I'm the Acting Associate Director for NIFA. My normal job is the Associate Area Director for the Plains area in the Agricultural Research Service of USDA, and I'm stationed in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I am joining you today from sunny Colorado. So I know that most of you have heard that NIFA has moved. Well, NIFA hasn't just moved into a new city, we've moved into a new phase in the agency's growth and development. Over the next year, you'll see NIFA emerge as a fresh, new, customer-focused, service-oriented organization full of new ideas, energy, innovation. Updated technologies, processes, and intentional engagement to encourage more input and feedback from you are essential. We're making big and bold changes that will define NIFA as the nation's leader in agricultural science innovation. When Dr. Parag Chitnis stepped in as the lead at NIFA as the acting director, he laid out 3 goals for the year. Goal number 1, process all FY 2020 year-end awards on time. I'll say a little bit more about that later, but the short story there is that's happened. Hire and train new staff. When NIFA moved to Kansas City, a large number of the staff decided not to move. So we had a big job of restaffing, and I'll go into those numbers in a minute. Imagine and implement process changes through Project Cafe and beyond, particularly pursuing quick and impactful wins. And I'll talk a little bit about that more in a minute, and I know that most of you had some input into that. Now, goal number 1, let's talk about that for a little bit. So as of now, as of today, we have processed all the FY 2020 one-year awards. Now, there are a few stragglers, and those we're just waiting on some information from the grantees, but all the awards are processed and ready to go. So that goal has actually been met. Also, as part of this response, we included a rapid response funding for projects addressing COVID-19. Last week, we issued a press release detailing nearly $14 million in grants across 31 funding projects to provide a much-needed research focused on various areas of the pandemic impact on agriculture and education. So on relocation, we're approaching the 1-year anniversary of moving to Kansas City, and NIFA employees are looking forward to settling into their new headquarters at 805 Pennsylvania Avenue, Kansas City, as soon as that's feasible and permissible to do so. And that really depends on the pandemic and what state it's at in Kansas City. The remodeling process will be done at the end of October. And so after that, and after it's permissible, about 300 employees, there's space for about 300 employees to move into this new headquarters. In the meantime, we're very busy working on goal number 2, hiring and training new staff. As most of you know, we've learned quickly to adopt and move forward to virtual work environment. And that includes conducting interviews, onboarding, and training. Currently, NIFA has over 150 permanent employees on board. We hired about 120 new employees since October 1st of 2019, so in this fiscal year. Many of them joined NIFA during the time of telework. Despite never having seen their office or their co-workers or their supervisor in person, they are hard at work getting grants reviewed, funding out the door, and new opportunities posted. They've been doing a fantastic job with that. They really should be commended. We expect to continue to hire at least 5 people per pay period through this fiscal year and well into the next fiscal year. This strong hiring initiative will get us close to fully staffed and ensure we are meeting our mission to serve you. So now I'd like to introduce some of the staff. Now you've met Matt Faulkner, who is the Deputy Director of the Office of Grants and Financial Management. Our other Deputy Directors are Acting Deputy Director Timothy Connor, who's Acting Director of the Institute of Bioenergy, Climate, and Environment, as well as the Institute of Food Safety and Nutrition, and the Acting Director of the Center for International Programs. So as you can tell, Tim's a busy man. Michael Fitzner is Acting Director for the Institute of Food and Production and Sustainability, and Suresh Shirwani is Acting Deputy Director for the Institute of Youth, Family, and Community. And Suresh, I apologize for murdering your name there. So we have a new Director of Communication, Faith Peppers. She joined NIFA as a Director for Communications in June. She brings a wealth of experience in journalism and marketing, including 27 years as a communications and public affairs leader in a land-grant university. We also have a new Director of Equal Opportunity and Civil Rights, Brenda Williams. She came to us from the Natural Resources Conservation Service, where she served in a number of leadership roles from DC to Portland. Now back to our goals. Let's talk about goal 3. Many of you participated in the input phase of Project Cafe to help define critical areas to improve NIFA's performance and effectiveness in working with our partners and stakeholders. We have categorized over 900 comments from internal and external interest groups, and those have been assigned to task order teams who are working to address them. So every comment was put into a category, and those categories are now each being addressed. The first 8 groups are addressing the quick action items, things that we can do quickly to improve our processes and our service to you. And those are the updating program and grant management specialist training. So better train our people. This is key now with all the new people we have. Reinforcing quality panel comments so that when you get your comments back from the panel, those comments are actually meaningful to you and can help you improve your application the next time you submit. We want to standardize application deadlines across time zones. We want to improve technology supporting virtual panels, obviously with COVID-19. We've been doing virtual panels, and that is something fairly new. And so we want to strengthen that technology. And then we want to clarify information for awardees. And that's something that the awardees have asked for. With these quick response improvements, we hope to clear the path for the bigger initiatives ahead. Some of those bigger initiatives are to revamp our IT system and other internal functions to make us a much more efficient agency and to better serve you. Now, there are 2 new initiatives this year. We are introducing 2 major new initiatives over the summer. Actually, they were introduced. The first was the new investigator seed grant opportunities with the AFRI Sustainable Ag Systems RFA. Through the NIFA Agriculture and Food Research Initiative, that's AFRI, applicants who meet eligibility requirements as a new investigator can apply for a seed grant or new investigator standard grants. This opportunity aims to attract and retain promising new scientists to agricultural research. Now, AFRI seed grants provide funds to help investigators collect preliminary data through either domestic or international collaborations, or to complete other preliminary activities to prepare for applying for AFRI grants. They're not intended to fund standalone projects, but rather projects that will lead to further research in one of the AFRI funded priority areas. In addition, AFRI is continuing to offer strengthening grants for researchers at small and mid-sized or minority-serving degree-granting institutions. This continued engagement of investigators in agricultural research, this continued engagement of investigators in agriculture-related research, extension, and education is a timely investment that NIFA leaders hope will bring needed encouragement for scientists and universities struggling in the wake of the pandemic disruption to research and education. The second major initiative announced this summer was a collaboration between NIFA and the National Science Foundation to create a national network of 7 artificial intelligence institutes. By partnering with the U.S. scientific powerhouses, NIFA and NSF, with other federal agencies and public research universities, these institutes will serve as hubs in a broader nationwide network aiming to improve American competitiveness, transforming key areas of society. The AI Institute's research will improve our national capacity in critical areas, such as extreme weather preparedness, K-12 education advancement, next generation workforce development, and agricultural resilience and sustainability. Now, NIFA has funded 2 of these institutes this last year. The first one is the Institute for Next Generation Food Systems, led by a team at the University of California, Davis, and it integrates a holistic view of the food system with AI and bioinformatics to understand biological data processes, addressing issues of molecular breeding to optimize traits for yield, crop quality, pest and disease resistance, agriculture production, food processing and distribution, and nutrition. It has a major emphasis on its inclusive education and outreach approaches to build a diverse next generation workforce. The second one is the Institute for Future Agricultural Resilience, Management, and Sustainability, and it's led by a team at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And this will advance AI research in computer vision, machine learning, soft object manipulation, and intuitive human-robot interaction to solve major agricultural challenges, including labor shortages, efficiency and welfare in animal agriculture, environmental resilience of crops, and the need to safeguard soil health. The Institute features a new joint computer science and agriculture degree and a global clearinghouse to foster collaboration in AI-driven agricultural research. Next year, we expect to fund more of these institutes. With that, I will end my remarks, and I would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kaphammer. So next up, we wanted to give an introduction and provide some contact information for OGFM senior staff. This is to ensure you have direct access to the folks who can address issues you may be facing. So you have my email address that's been provided here, but I wanted to emphasize that we have divisions within OGFM, and the 3 people I'm about to introduce, I think you will find to be eager and willing to provide their assistance to meet your needs. The first is the director of the awards management division. That's Calvin Mitchell. He just joined us. He's still onboarding to the agency, so he's unable to join us today. But I'm really excited about his arrival, and he's coming to us from HHS. Chris Koppenbarger, I just wanted to do a shout out to him. He has he's been serving as acting director the last several months, and I just want to extend my sincere appreciation to him and all the last several months of his significant contributions to NIFA. Next up, we have the director of the financial management division. That's Waits Rollerson. And I know Waits, you're on the call with us here, so I'll let you say hi and introduce yourself.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Waits Rollerson. As Matt said, I'm the Financial Management Division Director. In summary, or in short, once the Award Management Division has made the awards, my group funds the ASAP accounts. So if you're having ASAP account issues, I would be the person to contact. Thank you.
Thanks, Waits. Next up, we have the Director of Policy and Oversight Division. That's Katina Hansen. And Katina's with us as well, so I'll let her introduce herself and say hi.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you, and I'm excited to work with you. I've been with NIFA since March and have been dedicated to trying to hire up for our policy and oversight division and work with a number of folks to improve our processes as we can. I'm particularly excited to talk with you today because I actually started my career in the state of Hawaii, and I worked with Native Hawaiian nonprofit there, and then the state government, and then actually started my career with USDA with the Pacific Islands Area Office of the Natural Resources Conservation Service. So I was able to travel out to Guam and the Republic of Palau and CNMI, and excited to work with you and see how we can help to make your interactions with NIFA easier and help to improve our working relationship as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Katina. So you heard Dr. Kaphammer say that, you know, we have undergone a transition as we've come to Kansas City. And a big part of that is we have had a number of vacancies that we needed to fill. And we are, for the Office of Grants and Financial Management, we're standing at about 70% that we've filled. And this is helping us provide you with improved grants and financial management services. So for example, the fourth quarter release of capacity program funds has been completed for FY20. We have over 95% of our FY 2020 funds that have been awarded, and that's for capacity and competitive programs. For FY 2021, capacity RFAs have been published. And in today's NIFA update, if you haven't had a chance to see that, we have also provided the projected RFA publication schedule for FY 2021 non-AFRI competitive programs. We say that they're projected because until they're kind of subject to change until we actually get them published in grants.gov. So this next bullet here is really just a reminder for those of you with awards that are doing drawdowns in ASAP that they routinely suspend access the last 4 working days of each month. So, you know, if you're going to be doing drawdowns, try to get it before that, or you'll have to wait till the next month. But ASAP is the automated standard application for payment system with Treasury. And lastly, you know, this is probably the most important thing for you to get your questions addressed, and that is if you want to reach us to address your questions, we have a team of people that are looking at a number of these accounts, these email accounts. So for questions for competitive grants, we have awards@usda.gov. If you have questions on capacity grants, that's capacity grant questions at usda.gov. And then if you have any ASAP questions, that is ASAP customer service at usda.gov. So 2 or 3 really great resources to address your questions. Now, up next, we have Dr. Suresh Warren to provide the programs update. Suresh?
Thanks, Matt. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. For those of you from Guam, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Thanks for joining us early. I also want to start off by introducing some new staff. There has been considerable change with staff associated with this program. We have a new division director for the Division of Community and Education, Peter.
Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here, and I am particularly interested in this area. I was at the University of Guam from 1995 to 1999, so I'm familiar with that Pacific area, and I look forward to working with you and your comments today.
Thank you. And Irma Lawrence is the new National Program Leader for the programs. Irma?
Hello, welcome, aloha. It's nice to have you here, and I look forward to working with you during this year and catching up on all the things we need to do to implement the projects.
Kellyanne is the new program specialist.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm looking forward to working with many of you during my time with NIFA.
And Dorisal is another program specialist with these programs.
Hello, my name is Dorisel. I am happy to be with you there. Thank you for joining us.
I have been to Hawaii and Guam and most of these Pacific Islands. And in 2018, NIFA organized a grantsmanship workshop at Guam. There were few of us there at that time, and we received lots of feedback about clearly identified needs. When we returned, we have tried to address some of these needs through different programs, and we hope to start rebuilding on those suggestions with the new staff. If you have any more ideas, if you have any more things that we can do, any more programs that we can do, please let us know. You have their email addresses. Most of you might already know about the Insular Area programs. We have about $1.92 million for these programs. The RIIA and DEG programs, this is the resident instruction and the distance education grants programs. These are open to all institutions in insular areas, including Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and those in the Pacific Islands. AFRI is a capacity building, a facility building grant program. This is open only for the land grant institutions in the insular areas. If you are a private, a smaller public institution in these islands, you can apply for RIIA and DEG. Only the land grants can apply for AFRI. The deadline is 24th January 2021 for DEG, and RIIA and AFRI is 18th February 2021. Dr. Irma Lawrence is the national program leader. If you have any program specific questions, please get in touch with her. I'm going to quickly go through some relevant programs. If at any time you have any questions, feel free to type your questions on chat. We have time set aside at the end to go back and review the chat and to provide you with answers as much as we can. There's another program slightly larger for $3 million for Alaska Native and Native Hawaiian serving institutions. This is for recruitment, retention, and to support students for careers in food and agriculture. You can also provide support for K through 12 students. The deadline for this program is 25th of February. Money can be used to improve curriculum, support the professional improvement of faculty, and to improve the infrastructure of the institutions, including libraries and laboratories. These are not the only programs available at NIFA. NIFA in 2020 has a budget of about $1.8 billion for grants and contracts. The AFRI program, the Agriculture Food Research Initiative program, is our largest. It supports education, research, extension, and integrated projects, and has 3 separate RFAs with many programs published at different times. The largest grants are the Sustainable Agricultural Systems grants, and the RFA should be published soon. These are for $10 million. Generally, we expect a coalition of universities to submit these applications. These are fully integrated projects, should include education, research, and extension. Look at previous requests for applications and start planning ahead, even before the RFA gets published, so that you have time to put together a good, strong team. We have a foundational program RFA in 6 topics. And again, that RFA will be published soon. We also have an education and workforce development RFA. We have about $49 million set aside for this program, education and workforce development. And there are 4 different priorities currently under education and workforce development. One of those is professional development for agricultural literacy. It focuses on K through 14 programs. Carlos Ortiz is the national program leader. The deadline for this year is over, but a new RFA will be published soon. The other one is agricultural workforce training program. This focuses on community colleges, junior colleges, and technical colleges to develop the agricultural industry workforce. It's a new program. We launched this program last year, did not get sufficient number of applications. 24th September is the deadline. You still have 1 more week. We hope we will get more applications. Please consider, if not for this year, at least for next year. From my travel and official discussions with staff in Pacific and Insular areas, including Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands, there is a huge, huge need for training the agricultural industry workforce. REEU, or Research and Extension Experiences for undergraduates. These are for summer internships for students to give them unique experiences so that students are prepared when they graduate and go to join the industry. We also have pre-doctoral and postdoctoral fellowships. For example, if you want to hire a postdoc to come and work at your university for some time, this is the program to consider. And the request for application for this program, I expect, will be published sometime in December, January of this year. I've given you the website for this year. Some other program which I think are useful for the Pacific Islands and for the people attending this webinar is a program called the Beginning Farmers and Ranchers Development Program. The appropriation is $17.5 million. This is for training beginning farmers. And the definition of beginning farmers are farm workers and anyone with less than 10 years of experience. Grants can go to community-based organizations, universities, community colleges. I think there are lots of challenges, especially in Hawaii and the Pacific Islands, about food security and needs, other needs in terms of agricultural production. This is a very useful program. Expect RFA to be published around December, January, and I have given the website. I think Puerto Rico got a grant to do this a few years ago. This is what I have, and these are some of the resources that may be useful. When we visited Guam for the grantsmanship workshop, one of the issues that came up is the time differences, rapid turnover in faculty, and need to have more training, and perhaps one site, one website, one page where the insular areas can get access to all NIFA programs and grant opportunities. We have developed, after we returned, we developed a page which is the second item there, NIFA Insular Area information. If you go to that website, you should be able to get information about grant opportunities. We also used to conduct webinars at nights so that insular areas could participate in those webinars. So you should be able to get access to our past webinars on that page. We have useful information about managing grants during this time under COVID on NIFA COVID page. And there is also a grants management FAQ, which should be of help to most people. We have set aside approximately 30 minutes for question and answers. We would like to answer any questions you have, but we also have 3 other questions. One, how can we enhance Pacific and insular area stakeholders and NIFA? How can we enhance communication between NIFA and the insular area? What format? What frequency? What do you want us to discuss? And what kind of communication vehicles do you want? Is it a webinar? Is it a newsletter? What do you need from us? Next, how can we increase applications to NIFA programs? One huge challenge that we have is getting sufficient number of applications to insular area programs. We don't receive applications. What can we do? If it is partnerships that you need with other Pacific area institutions, if it is partnership that you need with USDA, ARS, Agricultural Research Service with insular areas, let us know. Please let us know by email or through other sources what you need. The other topic we have is grant management needs. We have the Office of Grants, OGFM with us, Office of Grants and Financial Management with us. Matt, my co-lead for this webinar, is the director of that institute. What can we do to help improve and train grants management practices in insular areas? Please feel free to type your questions. I'm going to go in and I will also ask Matt and Kellyanne to review and ask us, read the questions for us.
Yeah, we do have one question, but before we get to that, let me just expand a little bit on the questions that you've highlighted here, Suresh. So when it comes to communications with Pacific and insular area stakeholders, this format being an example, has this type of webinars useful to you, and if so, how frequently would you like to get updated on things that are happening? So again, just provide a response to that in the question and answers. And of course, we're very interested, as Suresh has said, about what do we need to do to increase applications coming from Pacific and insular areas. And lastly, when it comes to the grants management needs, we're, from an OGFM perspective, if you need training for grants management or financial management in the process of applying for grants, managing grants, we'd be happy to put together a program of training for your organizations. So anyway, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments, and that'll be very useful information for us to make sure we're helping to meet your needs. The first question I think we have up in the comments section is regarding the Beginning Farmers and Ranchers Development Program. Can multiple branch institutions apply for the same system? For example, there are 10 institutions under the University of Hawaii system.
Yes, you can. It doesn't have to be a small organization. As long as you identify one as the lead, it is possible for you to apply.
We have, I guess, more of a comment. In terms of the communications, this format is great. It would be nice to have them quarterly. So we have a request for a quarterly feedback loop. We have another one. If not quarterly, then semi-annual.
What are some of the most important disciplines or topics in agriculture? What are the biggest challenges in agriculture that we can use in our, that we can identify in our RFAs?
We have a comment that they would like to hear more on developing insular and ARS collaborative opportunities.
Is Bryan still here? I don't know.
I don't see him. But we can follow up.
Yeah, Thomas, we will follow up on that question. We have had some discussions with Bryan. Bryan is from Agricultural Research Service. He wanted to know some idea about what are the needs in insular areas. And he said he will try to find people at ARS who can help collaborate. But if you follow up with me in an email, I can share it with Bryan and link you up with Bryan and perhaps help to develop something.
We have another suggestion. We have a current group that meets monthly about POW reporting system. Works very well as Zoom webinar. Would rather have them more often than quarterly, so more frequently.
This is Irma. Is this the Insular or the Alaska Hawaii? Sarah?
Lisa, you have a question about applications. If you're talking about the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program, both the universities, University of Hawaii at Manoa and University of Hawaii Maui campus can also apply separately.
That question is for me. Manoa is a campus and they could apply, and then the University of Hawaii could apply because they're individually accredited. However, it's a system and all the proposals go through your main office. For the Alaska Native Hawaiian program, they all have to go through your office. However, for the farmers and ranchers and all the other programs that we offer, they do have to go through your main office. We could receive multiple applications.
Many of our programs don't put a limit on the number of applications per institution. Thank you, Serena and Patricia, about Lynn Kadigala and her work. Is there anything else similar that we can do?
Opportunities that target student training, capacity building on the nexus between computer science and agriculture would be important.
Peter, do you want to comment on that? About other programs or opportunities?
Well, I'm not sure what, I'm trying to get at exactly what they're talking about here.
I think perhaps giving priority in insular areas or other programs.
Well, I think this is a really important area. Are you talking about the computer science and agriculture? That's a very important area and one that we can stress.
This is Irma. One of the things you could consider is applying for the REEU grants program, which allows you to have student training internships with extension agents in the labs, other institutions, different companies. And Suresh, is the funds available is still 200,000? I think it went up.
No, it has gone up. It's a little bit bigger and it should go up next year too. So I don't know the numbers for next year, but the request for application should be published sometime in December.
And I understand you could get up to funds for up to 30 students to send them out in different for different opportunities. And from a previous talk, I understand 1 in every 5 applications get funded. So you will have the opportunity to actually be successful. You just need to be thinking about it. Check the website at NIFA, look at the RFAs, look at the previously funded projects, and then figure out what will work for you in where you are.
Serena had said something about invasive species and control, and we will continue to have that need. I think we have the AFRI program to do that, but what kind of help can we provide? I think, Serena, a little bit more information on that question. I can share it with ARS, with Bryan, and perhaps identify people at ARS who may be interested on that topic.
Hi, can you hear me? This is Serena.
Hi, Serena.
We hear you.
Hey, because I can talk faster than I can type.
Yeah.
But as it relates to that, when you ask about what our agriculture needs, and that's what I'm putting in there, is that's something that, yes, will never go away. We're partnered on that, but it's something that across the board in the Western Pacific, yes, there's the specificity of focus on various species of identification, management, control, and such like that. My point is, when you ask about what are going to be agricultural needs, that will be and continue to expand to be a major aspect of agriculture, environment, and of course the social systems go along with that. Unfortunately, it's not ever going to go away. Yes, and Patty's on here, she can speak to that. When it comes to the aspects of invasive species, Guam, CNMI, our partners down in the Micronesian Islands, we are the front door. We have international relationships and partnerships going on regarding that. So and that's always going to be there. And I never want to, I'm hoping it will never get lost. But across the agency, across USDA, across NIFA, across all of our partners in our agency, this is going to be and will always be the major focus for ag production. Because we are trying to keep the door closed, that it doesn't get to our partners in Hawaii, Alaska, and the coastal areas and across the country.
Thank you.
And Serena, I was just going to add to that. I think it's a very unique issue on the islands because it goes across different ecosystems. And so it's an area which could be part of an AFRI proposal. Very unique systems, issues associated with this. And so I'd urge you to see if there could be some effort to focus on this in your AFRI, in the AFRI programs.
And the AFRI programs have conference grants also. If you want to organize a conference on this topic in the Pacific, that may be a good way of getting funding to start and then write a larger comprehensive application.
I think that's already underway. I know that there's, well, some of the planning had been underway, and then this pandemic hit. Yeah, very noted. I'll make sure that my faculty and staff, are on board with that.
And again, Martha, regarding agroecological and sustainable agriculture, similar comments. AFRI has quite a lot of money, but other than that, the SAP program, Sustainable Agriculture Program, also has money and smaller grants and awarded by the regions. So that might be one way of getting some money to address something that you need. It's a good suggestion. I really don't know. We haven't thought of it that way. We will consider your suggestion and respond to it regarding AgFed.
We have another.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Hi, Suresh. This is Pauline from American Samoa. I just want to bring up one of the major issues that we have now. So, and ask what suggestions you can recommend. Right now, our borders have been closed, so I'm not sure if other insular areas are experiencing the same thing. American Samoa has been closed since March, so no flights in and out. We get a once a week cargo flight, and then shipping is also limited. So that's affecting all everything pretty much, our economy, the current resources that we have. So as far as trying to address this issue, would it be something that we can use from distance education? We have students that are stuck there in American Samoa, and they can't be because there's no commercial flights in and out. So they're attending UH remotely. And then we have families that are stuck here that cannot go back home. So what is something that we can apply for to help address issues of border closure? I mean, it's a good thing. Right now we have 0 cases of COVID-19. That's because of the border closure, but on the flip side, there's also the downside of that. So what is something we can do to address that from a NIFA perspective? Sorry, I hope I'm not confusing you.
No, you're not. And hi, Pauline. And the distance education grants program is for education and primarily for technology for distance education and training of faculty on those technology for distance education. I'm going to ask Katina Hansen. I don't know whether she knows of any programs, either our capacity programs or anything that can be used for some of the challenges Pauline talked about.
Yeah, I think we would have to brainstorm on that and see what we could use. Maybe if you could write up what are the types of challenges that you're facing, and then we can look to see what other kinds of opportunities we have that could potentially help with that. We do have a group that meets daily at NIFA to try to brainstorm, solutions to problems related to the COVID-19 crisis. So I can definitely bring that to this group, that entire group, which spans across leadership in NIFA, and try to get you back something very quickly.
Thank you. I know we just got awarded the RIA 2020. And there was more funding added towards promoting or developing distance education. So I know that's why there was more funding added to our re-award. So that's good. That's something positive that we can work with as well. Thank you.
Pauline, this is Irma.
Oh, hi, Irma.
Pauline, and our regards to Salia.
Oh, I'm actually in Hawaii. Sali is in American Samoa. So.
Yes.
So you cannot travel back to, and
No.
okay. Oh my goodness. But I was gonna ask you, is the post office working? Because one of the things I'm thinking, the coming in of food and supplies is probably scarce. And I know it is in Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico is partially open. And teaching people how to, if the post office were working, how to reach out and find some supplies to do things and get them through the mail. Maybe that would be an option. I know you cannot ship yourself back to Samoa or Guam, Samoa through the mail, but what could we do and how could we plan these things?
Okay, so sorry, what was the question?
I'm just saying, the post office, is the post office working? Are you getting daily mail packages and things like that, or?
Yes, we receive a cargo flight. Let's say a cargo flight leaves Hawaii once a week with, and they mostly priority mail. So that comes in on Friday, so it's just once a week.
Okay. Is that the same thing happening in Alaska? Anyone from Alaska?
Hi, this is Lisa. I'm calling in from Alaska. We are not on lockdown. We get supplies, and it's not the situation. A lockdown would have been a good thing, but we didn't get it.
Hi, Vanessa. I see your question about next summer and internships. Really don't know an answer for that. I would think that you should plan for both or plan for being normal. And if it doesn't happen that way, if you have to ask for an extension, we understand the circumstances. We can provide you with no cost extensions. So go ahead and submit an application. Don't be concerned about COVID not being the reason for not submitting an application. The program is going to be held.
Another question is, will the AGI program ever be sent out as a separate RFA? It's hard to write a facilities equipment project for an education-oriented RFA.
It's something we need to think about. We haven't talked about it, but we need to think about it. I think it's a good suggestion.
Next question is, what types of internship opportunities are allowed under the Research and Extension Experimental Learning Grant for AFRI, especially if you are not ranching or farming, not a ranching or farming institution?
That doesn't matter. Really, when we started this program, we really thought about starting a program where students could be sent to the ag industry, agribusiness firms. But we have received more and more applications to conduct research in university laboratories, and in some cases to go out and work in communities as extension staff. What we are really trying to do is to provide some on-field experiences for students in computer science, in agriculture. Like the previous person's question on computer and agriculture, we really wanted to provide people in computer science, in biological sciences, in different students in different disciplines, some experience of agriculture, so that when they look for employment, they are trained to get a good productive job.
Marisol says that our DEG project in Puerto Rico about school garden network has been affected because schools are closed. But the project has given teachers the great opportunity to continue teaching agriculture through distance education.
That's great news. And if you have money remaining or anything, if you want to ask for a no-cost extension, go for it.
One of the things you could do, Marisol, is also mail the students some seeds and see what it comes out of it. And it could be sunflowers, tomatoes, or have them find them within their house and have them try it out and try to engage them as a warm-up for the future years. And again, as Suresh said, you go ask for a no-cost extension. I think your project is 2 or 3 years, so you can always ask for a no-cost extension.
We have a great website with FAQs on COVID, how to respond, how to change, how to react when you have a grant from NIFA. It's on one of the slides for today's presentation. Katina Hansen provides leadership. She's the one who she talked about the early morning meetings on COVID. Use that website. And if you have any questions about how to respond, please send us an email. And before we wrap up, is there anything else that we can do? Do you want us to have these kinds of chats more often? Or what do you want us to do? How can we help get more applications for the Insular Area programs? That's a big challenge for us. We need to double the number of applications we get every year. And this is the contact information for Matt and myself. Feel free to send us suggestions or any questions.
And this is Irma. On November 17th, we're going to have a webinar on the RFA. I think it's 4 o'clock again. So we look forward to seeing you, and you could bring some questions. In the previous session, they suggested we have people, successful grantees talk about their projects. Maybe we could incorporate that on your webinar too.
Couple more questions or requests. Yeah, it would be nice to receive automatic notifications on upcoming RFAs. So that's something for us to look into. Great suggestion. And they think conversation will be more often. Conversation would be help build networks that will increase applications. So yeah, more conversation, more opportunity for awareness and understanding of what's coming and what may be of interest to you.
Serena, is there a network that we can post these announcements or anything like that? We want it not only land grants, but also other educational institutions, because some of these programs are open to others.
Well, you know, that's a good question. But I think it kind of goes to the aspect of utilizing what the networks that are already established can do. The presence of four-year institutions, two-year institutions out here in the Western Pacific are mostly, Patty chime in here, are mostly the land grant, you know, the designated land grants. Of those who would be eligible or consideration for this type of funding. So with that, if there is a way to funnel this into our Western region research directors and our Western region extension directors and our Western region academic groups, yeah, make sure that they're on the list. So because it's a well-established, well-working machine that already communicates, and I think that's important I'd rather get the notice 3 or 4 times than not get it at all.
Will do. And what about Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands? Is it only public institutions and land grants, or are there other institutions that need to be notified? Anyone from Puerto Rico?
Hi, Elvia Melendez here. So yeah, there are a number of private institutions. I'm from the public institution, University of Puerto Rico at Rio Piedras, but there is, I mean, there are a lot of private institutions, and in fact, they collectively, they hold even a larger number of students. They're not necessarily land grant, right? UPR Mayagüez is our land grant institution, but for some of these programs that you have described, I think that private institutions would also qualify. So on the top of my head, UMET, Inter-American University, the Ana Jiménez system, and they're, I mean, they are large institutions, island-wide.
They're multi-branches.
Great.
Again, we have finished 1 hour. Thank you for joining us. And if you need any other information, feel free to again get back in touch with us. Matt, do you want to say anything to close it up?
Hey, just a big thank you to everyone for participating. This is very helpful to us, and we certainly want to make sure that this is helpful to you. So, you know, the more comments and ideas, suggestions you have about how we can meet your needs is really appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.